The day had finally arrived for Mr. Morton. After almost a year straight of working as a manager of the graham cracker factory, he finally had something that he was looking forward to for a long time: a day off. So, on a bright and early Friday morning, Mr. Morton, who normally at this time was in his car driving to the graham cracker factory, was in his bed. He was ready to get some much-needed rest and relaxation, and on Monday, he'd be right back to work. But at least his battery would be recharged a little bit. So, there Mr. Morton was, his head on a goose-down pillow, his body covered with blankets, ready to rest and relax. Unfortunately, much to Mr. Morton's chagrin, the neighborhood where he lived wasn't quite so keen on relaxing or being quiet. It started off slowly but annoyingly, as right outside Mr. Morton's window, the cheep of a very loud bird could be heard. Mr. Morton frowned in his sleep and tried to sink his head deeper into his pillow to try and block out the noise. Unfortunately, along with the chirping bird was the sound of a dog barking. A very loud dog barking. Poor Mr. Morton covered his head with the pillow to drown out the noise, but try as he might, it did no good. Soon he heard the sound of someone mowing their lawn, and this lawnmower did not have a quiet engine. Goodness, Mr. Morton was getting mad. Ugh! He grabbed some nearby cotton balls from his drawer and plugged them into his ears, but it did not work. More noise was heard outside. His two loud neighbors, Steve and Phil, decided then and there to have a conversation outside.
Hey, Steve! Oh, hi, Phil. How you doing? Pretty good, Steve. Hey, did you catch that ball game yesterday? I sure did. Boy, that umpire sure was a bum, wasn't he? Yeah, that was a strike, not a ball.
Not only that, but a man was heard screaming from somewhere around the neighborhood. Mr. Morton didn't know who it was or why they were screaming, and he most likely didn't want to know either.
No! No! Oh my God! No! No! Yes!
On top of all that, a radio was loudly playing music from somewhere close by as well. Mr. Morton had it. All he wanted was one day of peace and quiet, and he was going to get it. So, Mr. Morton got out of bed and opened up his window. From here, he can hear the noises that were keeping him up quite fully. The bird, the dog, the lawnmower, Steve and Phil.
Hey, Steve! Oh, hi, Phil. How you doing?
The screaming man.
No! No! Oh my God! No!
The radio. everything. But now they all seem to be mixed together in an ear-splitting symphony of chaos.
Hey, Steve! Oh, hi, Phil. How you doing? Pretty good, Steve. Hey, did you catch that ball game yesterday?
I sure did.
Boy, that umpire sure was a bum, wasn't he? Yeah, that was a strike, not a ball.
Mr. Morton's eyes twitched. His nostrils flared. He grit his teeth until he thought they would break. Mr. Morton had to put a stop to this. He needed some sleep. And so, Mr. Morton did the only thing that he could. He leaned out the window, and at the top of his lungs he shouted, "Quiet!" And wouldn't you know it, everything, the bird, the dog, the lawnmower, Steve and Phil, the screaming man, the radio, it all went quiet. Mr. Morton sighed with relief and slowly plopped back into his bed. Now he'd finally be able to get some peace and quiet. He positioned himself on his pillow as comfortably as possible, and he closed his eyes to get some sleep. However, no sooner did he do that when suddenly his phone began to ring. Oh, goodness, who on earth could this be? Mr. Morton picked up the phone to answer it. Hello? It was Mr. Muckleberry, the assistant vice president at the graham cracker factory.
Mr. Morton, I'm terribly sorry to disturb you, but there's a big problem down at the graham cracker factory. It appears the mechanism to punch holes into the crackers is on the fritz. We can't get a hold of the repairman on the phone to fix the problem. Would you mind coming to the factory to help us out? I'm sorry if this is an inconvenience, but hey, at least it's Friday, right? Well, see you when you get here.
Well, it looks like Mr. Morton wasn't getting his day off today after all.